Heliopolis. Oh, we need to roll for karma too.
Chameleon. Karma. Chameleon.
Yep. Karma, chameleon.
That karma sure comes and goes.
It comes and goes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
In waves.
Sean makes sure it comes and goes.
Yeah. That's why we have a group pool and we bank like more than 90% of our karma each time.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, we are back. We are live once again. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun-dun-dun.
Who is taking notes for today? Did we decide?
I am.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Does somebody want to give us a brief recap as to where we last left off? Just
I
before we
can,
get
since
to the
I
rest.
took notes last time.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So we originally, at the beginning, we found ourselves back in Transnistria. Now that it was back to the original group. Yuri took us to this swap meet, and we ended up, when we got there, Lightbringer felt some like dread and distress coming from someplace further on into the swap meet. So we went through there. We ended up kind of talking to a few people. We talked to a guy about checking around to see about getting some military grade electronics, kind of seeing what their accessibility is for certain things. And we got to the back, and there was a kind of like a dance club, kind of burlesque-esque club, where there was two dancers dancing on the stage. And it was we went in there, and Lightbringer confirmed that there was the dancers were the ones that were the ones projecting that fear and dread or distress. We decided that we needed to figure out a little bit more. We ended up talking to Hyperion and Ixion, posing as a couple different names, talked to the high roller there in the club and set up a meeting with him to purchase his dancers, because when they had seen the dancers up on stage, we noticed that they had inhibitor collars on, kind of masked to their costumes. Hyperion and Ixion went to and met them after, went to the house that they gave us the address for through Yuri giving us a ride there. He said, "This is the mafia here, the local mafia." And we said, "Oh, okay. Well, drop us off anyway." He and I went in there, and the rest of the team waited until after hours to go back in the back room of the and snuck in the back room of the nightclub, and we saw 5 cages that were housing these hostages, if you will, these hostage dancers. And Sean proceeded to, and they not only had the inhibitor collars, but they were in an electrified cage. So Sean attempted to disable the cages. She went a little bit too big and ended up destroying the cages, knocking out the rest of the team that was there, which included Lightbringer and Mosh Pit, and killed the human guard that was there. Meanwhile, in town where Hyperion and Ixion were, the lights go dead as we're discussing with this high roller to try to save these people. The roof gets literally ripped off of the house, and we see empowered beings, 2 of which are floating above the house, and one that came in through the door, or vice versa. I can't remember exactly without looking at it just without seeking. And long story short, another one went and busted in the door where Shone was still conscious after she had disabled the collars for these hostages. And through a brief scuffle that Shone got her lights knocked around, let's just say that, used as a rag doll, she finally succumbed and submitted. And after a little bit of a scuffle, Hyperion and Ixion did the same. Currently, the Mosh Pit and Lightbringer and Shion were taken captive by this empowered being that accosted her, and they are tied up somehow and probably inhibited from using their powers, as well as Ixion and Hyperion. Hyperion was hit with a beam that effectively put him in standby mode and shut him down, and did the same to Ixion, in which he turned into his puddle form, and then one of the other empowered beings encased him in a block of ice, along with Hyperion is also in a block of ice. So we're in the deep freeze, and the other three are captive in some way, shape, or form. But the hostages did survive, but we do not know where exactly they are at this current point in time. And we are all in captivity. I think that kind of sums it up.
Yep, that it does.
He actually wanted to kill Shone, not just play with her.
Yeah.
So before we begin, let's go ahead and get karma and spins out of the way. Go ahead and roll for this month's karma.
I can go ahead and roll.
Sure.
Let's see here. That was the 1d10, right?
Yes, just 1d10 times 50.
9. So times 50 is 450, and then times 6, 450 times 6, 2,700. And we add that, let's see here. We're currently at 100 available karma, so then we put that up to 300. And then we add the 2,500 to the 15,340 we have banked. So now we have banked 17,840.
Oh, I did forget to say what happened in Strongford. Angler brought donuts into the office, and he's trying to make friends.
Yes,
Yes.
he's trying to make friends.
And you're adding karma for Davey, who hasn't officially joined the karma pool as of this point. Are we going to assume that when you join the team, you're going to be a part of the karma pool then?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I was kind of counting Mosh Pit, but I guess I shouldn't be, of course. Okay.
Right. No, that's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
So back in game. So picking up at this point with what happened to the legacy, and we will get to the Red Arsenal at a dramatically appropriate moment.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ta-dum.
So,
Meanwhile,
for those of you who were conscious, which at this point, and could see, I should say, which would be Shone and Lightbringer.
I was not conscious.
Were you unconscious?
Yes.
Yeah, all of them were knocked out.
Or were they knocked out? Oh, okay, so.
I was electrocuted.
I was
Never
conscious,
mind then.
but I was in a block of ice, so I could probably hear muffled, but I couldn't see very well.
Sure,
I would
that's
assume.
fine. So that'll make it even
I
easier.
mean, it's possible that I woke up in the process of being arrested or whatever.
So when all of you all of you minus Xenofreeze start to come to, You are in what appears to be a pretty dingy cell. The cell bars have a hum sound to them, so they are powered in some form or fashion. The last to awaken is Hyperion, which for the first time ever, as you are coming back to Hyperion, it's taking all you're seeing are ones and zeros for a while in your visual display, as everything has to essentially reboot.
Matrix vision right now.
You effectively died with that reboot, although it didn't do anything to any spatial awareness or memory features. It's the advances of your technology that allowed you to reboot and come back.
Okay.
Am I still pretty beat up?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So as you start, as all of you start to come to, the cell, and it's cold in here. Hyperion, of course, not really affected by it all that much. You two, Shone and Lightbringer, you have pieces of burlap to wrap yourselves in. Looks like they kind of act like a blanket.
Did they take our uniforms?
Yes.
Are we naked?
No. You have been given really ratty looking jumpsuits.
Okay.
Are we still wearing nullification cuffs or collars?
Yes.
Okay.
Where am I?
Great question. Who are you? Why are you?
Who? Why are I?
When
How am I?
are you?
Where are you?
When am I?
Hopefully now.
Really, the only thing that Xenofreeze has for his segue is just a Keanu Reeves. Whoa. And that's about it right now. So you guys are coming to.
I respond. Bloop.
There is echoes of sounds, which sound like coughing occasionally, maybe a little bit of chatter here and there. Wherever it is, it's cavernous, and it doesn't deal with acoustics all that well. Sound kind of carries. You do occasionally hear like the creaking of metal from somewhere. It's and when you just the only way you can see out, because there's no window or anything, is just the gate or the bars frame for whatever passes for a cell door. You are very much being kept in some sort of prison or penitentiary or something. Nothing about it looks clean, modern. Like it looks very third worldish in that sense.
Are we all in the same cell?
Yes.
Okay.
Where are we? And what happened?
Hyperion, he sits up and he looks around. And if he's wearing a nullification collar, he doesn't have his hologram up, so he just looks like his android self right now.
Yeah. So just a dull gray.
Yeah, with white glowing eyes, and he looks around and says, "Apparently, all of us were attacked by separate versions of the team."
And when he speaks, his voice modulating is resetting, so he does not sound like he normally does. So like when you start to speak, it's robotic at first, and then it's like squelching, squeak. Like you're still speaking the words, but even that's recalibrating back to what you chose as your identity voice.
Got it. Okay.
Sean's going to crawl over to him and just kind of put her hands on his robotic face and kind of look at him. Are you okay?
Xenofreeze and I were attacked at the same time. when we were trying to talk to the mafia person and his goons.
So they set you up?
They were not a part of the super team that attacked. They actually ran from them. And the super team came for us directly rather than the mafia, the actual criminals. They
Oh.
immediately attacked us and apprehended us, fired a specific nullification beam at me. I've just now rebooted and I'm recalibrating. They did the same thing to Xenofreeze, and I believe he turned back into his liquid form.
Yeah,
Nullified all of us.
they attacked just as I was about to portal the captives out. He was huge, and I think he meant to kill me. And she's all beat up to hell.
Glad you're all right for now. Were any of the captives saved?
I don't know. I don't know what they did with them. I don't know if they took them or if they let them go. I don't know.
Jerome, is Mosh Pit in here with us?
No.
Okay. And so then Hyperion's going to look around and be like, do we know what happened to Mosh Pit? He's not here.
Mm-mm.
Were there any casualties you know of?
When I went to short out the cages that they were in, I think I gave it too much juice. And it knocked Lightbringer and Mosh Pit out. And I think it killed the guard.
Oh,
See.
that's the last thing I remember.
And I was just ready to teleport all of us out of there when I got hit with something. And I turned around and there was this huge guy. And I couldn't. He overpowered me.
Super strength then.
Very much so. Every time he hit, I could have swore I felt 5 dimensions fly by me.
And you weren't able to teleport while he was there.
No, somehow they were able to inhibit. Every time I tried, I got that headache.
And they have tachyonic interference technology.
Jerome, is there enough light for me to perform a first aid to assess Chone's injuries?
No, but you're skilled enough to try it.
All right, I might as
Because the
well.
light, because you don't really, there's no like light bulb in here. You know, the
I mean, I'm
ambient
gonna
light is just coming from the hallway outside, which that's actually not bad. If you adjusted to where she's at, you could definitely look. But this is one of those situations where you want more light, but you're skilled enough and smart enough that you could probably pull it off. Plus, well,
I'm
you don't really
sure
have
she-
actual powers, but
Yeah, I'm sure she probably has. She has several broken bones. I'm sure.
Let
with
me
the way he was hitting
feel
her.
you to find out if you have any bruises.
I mean, when she yelps, you'll know you found it.
So, how many broken ribs and stuff does she have?
We're about to find out.
Okay.
All.
I'll let you keep count.
yeah, all of the ribs. In
Probably
fact,
One
you were
broken
in,
rib.
In fact, you were beaten.
Two broken ribs.
In fact, you were beaten so badly, one of the ribs was taken away to give back to Adam.
Okay. I believe that. He's like, give me back that rib.
Just flew right out.
I'm done with you, woman.
The celestial debt collector.
Yes.
Okay, so if I'm inhibited, then what do I roll for hyperintelligence?
You wouldn't.
Do I just roll first aid?
First aid with your reason, yes. They cannot inhibit your
Oh,
intelligence.
reason. Sorry, reason is what I meant.
Yep. It doesn't affect it. So your reason, intuition, and psyche are unaffected.
Okay,
You're a mere
because those are
normie.
native.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a heck of a thing if an inhibitor cup made you dumber. Like,
That's what I was afraid of.
Professor Xavier, I want magic legs.
She's like,
The collar works too well,
I
everybody.
know exactly.
Okay. Super rolls.
First roll tonight.
Don't say it like that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yellow.
Oh, hang on. Stupid. Come on. There we go. Okay, it's back. I need to stop doing this. I'm trying different things for my headset jack wise, and every time I use the USB-C port on anything, Windows 11 likes to temporarily kick it over back to my regular one. So occasionally I'll hear volume come from my regular speakers, which wouldn't be terrible if that's what I was using, but I'm not, and that's not picking up on the recording. So, okay, so you said yellow result. So yeah, you have enough lighting. Again, you're skilled enough from having done this a number of times already that you are able to assess her with a good degree of accuracy based upon her breathing and whatnot. It looks like her DNA is what saved her from what probably would have been pulp. You don't detect anything that's broken. Definitely some sprains. She's got some stress to her right orbital socket. From impact and whatnot, but thankfully nothing seems to be like super impaired. She just needs probably a week and some
Chicken soup.
yeah. There you go. Chicken noodle soup for the soul.
Okay, so I'll give you your assessment. Say you probably feel like crap, but you're gonna be okay. It's just gonna hurt
Suck
for
it
a little
up,
bit.
Buttercup.
I don't think anything's broken.
feels like it. It feels like he broke everything.
Yeah, it's gonna feel like that for a bit. Why don't you just lie down and try to relax?
I don't know if that's possible in here.
We try and huddle together for warmth. Those of us who are warm-blooded.
I think that's just you and me.
I apologize for not being useful in that regard.
Nothing
alright,
you can do.
You're good at other things.
She's going to look around for Xenofreeze.
Well, it's a cell. The moment you wake up, you can tell he's not there because there's no ambient puddles.
So, anybody know where Xenofreeze is?
Possibly in the same location wherever they took Mosh Pit. Or perhaps because his physiology is obviously different, somewhere else to make sure they can contain him.
I
Home
don't.
Depot buckets work pretty well.
What I don't understand is why did they attack us?
Do you think they're agents of Baron Damocles? Do you think he double-crossed us?
I wouldn't put it past him to double cross, but I don't know him to work with any other team. He seems to be a solo act, as it were. It would seem that these individuals... Jerome, did they have any, accents, obvious accents that would indicate, where they were from when they were talking to us?
I think Russian.
You've got the memory. Why don't you give me an intuition check as you rescan your recently rebooted memory?
Oh, boy. Okay. What's that again?
If I remember right, they sounded Russian.
Hello, feet.
Yellow? Nice.
Yep.
Okay. Let me get that pulled up real quick. Badoink. Okay, most of them sounded as if they were Russian. One, however, was German sounding.
Okay.
Of the ones that you ran into.
Okay. And none of them looked, did any of them look familiar, like had been seen on national television or like the news at any point in time that can be thought of?
If you had access to a computer, I would say you could probably make a scan of that, but not right now.
Okay. Okay. Then Hyperion will be like, based on their accents, which were predominantly Russian, one of which was German, I would think that either they are a force that was assembled either by Transnistria or Russia itself due to Transnistria's close civilian ties to that country. How they managed to find us so easily and attack us at the right time when we were at our weakest would be difficult to say, especially since we didn't make it known that we were our superheroic selves at any time.
Well, the only ones that knew we were coming here was the ones who showed us where to cross on the border.
There would be 3 individuals then who would know. Baron Damocles, the Moldovans, and President Albrecht.
I can't imagine that he would be behind us being captured.
Do you understand what likely may happen now?
We're going to be used as bargaining chips.
I can't help but think of the Argentinian conflict we inadvertently caused, simply because contact with you was lost. You couldn't be found by your grandfather. A war was started because of that. I'm not sure how long we've been here, but there's already been high political and military tensions between New Prussia and Russia. And with the recent goings-on, this could very well be a tipping point.
Where does that German individual come in?
And as you ask that, you hear a hollow voice from the shadowy end of your cell, and it very hollow, as if it's there but not there. Say, perhaps I could help with that.
Who's there?
Is it a voice we recognize?
No, but it's feminine sounding.
Hyperion stands up and looks to wherever it is. Can you show yourself?
So you see somebody step out of the shadows and step forward. She's in a similar outfit, just jumpsuit, with the number, just like you guys have one. She's got a collar as well.
Okay.
But she has, she's maybe 5'5", a little on the petite side, has kind of a Ana de Armas look to her going on. If you've ever seen her, she's been in a bunch of movies here lately. She played the AI thing from Blade Runner 2047 or whatever that one was.
Okay.
And she's been, of course, in a bunch of other things. She was in Knives Out before that.
Okay. So then Hyperion's going to go, we didn't realize there was another cellmate. Who are you?
She says, well, there isn't. So, shh.
I see.
And she looks around and she says, I knew the moment you came in here. I did not know that there was another synthetic individual around, though. Very intriguing. You're not very common.
Another? Who was the other synthetic you're referring to?
I met him in Transnistria as well.
Did he refer to himself as Mainframe?
No. He actually, 1 second, I need to pull that up from my notes. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, yeah. He says, she says, no, his name is Anton Rusev. Very lifelike, but I can tell otherwise. I have those sorts of skills.
I see. I take it then you know who we are.
Your prisoners?
How do you spell his last name, Jerome?
Rusev. R-U-S-E-V. Or S-E-V. S-E-V. His name is Del Vecchio. How do I spell that? D-E-L Vecchio.
Yes.
Nice. Then, if you aren't here, are you here to help us?
She says, that depends. I suppose we would have to have a conversation about that. It would have to be perhaps over an extended period of time. As she kind of glances out and looks around, she says, I think the guards are going to be doing their patrols around any moment. She says, you might want to mute yourself, Shelley.
Yeah. What did she say? What her name was?
She has not.
Okay.
And she says, but it is very intriguing. So you have a synthetic in your group, and you also have a Heliopolin.
Impressive that you're aware of her race.
How would you know this?
Oh, I've sampled your kind before.
Sampled?
She says, oh, right. And she takes a moment. You see the shadows that were in your cell actually recede back a little bit. It's actually not quite as dark as it would have been. She says, it's reflex. I apologize. They were hungry.
What was hungry? She's gonna
Carmen's
grab
gonna.
her. Yeah, she's gonna grab her
Carmen's
medallion.
gonna move a little bit
You don't have a
further
medallion
away.
on. That's fine.
Oh, they took her medallion too.
Yeah, you don't have any sort of personal belongings on you right now.
Oh my gosh.
So
they
I
took
guess
her
you're gonna
medallion.
like reach for your medallion. That's not
Yeah.
hers.
Be
Sure,
like,
sure.
oh no.
You're going to clutch those pearls.
Yeah, Carmen's gonna like scoot a little bit away.
What is hungry?
She says, my powers, apologies. It's just what they do.
What are you?
She says, I'm a deviant and quite proud. I just happen to have access to a skill set that, she kind of taps on the collar, isn't included in that particular model.
So you still have some of your powers.
Oh, honey, I have all of them.
Then why are you still here?
And that is the $1,000 question. And she just finds a spot to sit down and she goes, oh, dear, they didn't clean this well, did they? They must really not like you. And she kind of takes a moment and you see shadows come up and go like sweep off one of the one of the benches that are used to lay down on, and then she just properly sits herself down. She says, I'm certain that you know nothing of this, but my particular abilities reside within another dimension. I simply have the psychic ability to tap them.
Interesting. Way to circumvent the power nullification. And they've never realized you could do that.
Oh, of course not. I've never given them any reason to think that I could do that. Not that they would be able to stop it. But that would bring us to why I haven't exactly escaped. And as you have recently only woken up, we're in the middle of nowhere.
I don't understand why they took us to begin with.
She chuckles. She says, well, you clearly have something that they want.
Interesting.
She says, your tall, dark, and glowing eyes over here warrants that enough. And she kind of looks over at Hyperion affectionately.
Huh. Well, strange that they separated us in the way that they did if I'm the one they would want to look at.
There was 2 others with us. You wouldn't happen to know where they took them.
I don't, but I perhaps could be coerced into finding out.
What would you want?
An agreement. Seeing as that is all that we can come about, we do not have access to any money here, and there isn't anything clearly on your persons that you could give to me, or vice versa.
What's your proposal?
The proposal is escape. See, the reason why I don't do this sort of thing is because while I have the ability to escape, I lack some of the resources to do so, at least safely.
Because we're in the middle of nowhere, as you said.
As well as their heightened security. Wherever this facility happens to be, it is very important to the Russian government. And
So it
I
is the
knew it was
Russians.
I knew it was the Russians.
And she says, oh, it is most definitely the Russians, and they're working with rather peculiar individuals who look like humanoid triceratops. I have not actually seen them before.
Dang
The
it.
Ubari.
Oh, they have a name.
They are extraterrestrials. They are actually the ones at war with the species that has the spaceship in orbit you may have heard about on the news. Unless, how long exactly have you been here?
I've been here a couple months.
I see. Then you may have heard about it. It's the most recent development. We're aware that these Ubari, the ones that you saw, are apparently trying to use the Russians and any empower that they have captured as possible weapons against their other extraterrestrial foes.
Oh, then I think you answered your own question as to why you're all here.
Yes, it would make sense.
I don't make a habit of snooping around, but I do see that there is a rather large contingent of other deviants here that they seem to be pulling in and doing God knows what to from time to time. But back to this discussion for an agreement. Are you aware of the decaying tachyon particle field theory?
Yes, we are. The ability to actually create a field that nullifies teleportation abilities.
They have several of those generators currently up on this facility. And while it does not prevent me from leaving, it does limit my range, as it does seem to interfere with some sort of spatial dimension theorem that I have yet to be able to tackle as of yet. I haven't had the time to work out the particulars. I lack some equipment to do so.
Are they each powered individually, or do they draw from the same power source? Do you know?
That I don't know.
Do you have any idea what the range is?
Far enough.
Clearly, it
Are
would
we
be large
talking-
enough to cover this entire facility.
What I do
If we
know is
could-
this facility is close to a lake and close to a large mountain. So presumably it's going to cover at least most, if not both of those.
If we could escape and travel far enough away from it, you know, by foot or flight, then we could teleport away as soon as we were out of range.
I see. That brings us to dilemma number 2. And this is one that I have been able to confirm, which is why I've been leery of testing this theory. They have some sort of satellite technology that allows them to find and track deviants within their own country, which is likely how they found you.
Yes, that would make sense. There wouldn't have been any other good way for them to do that. It's been a plan of theirs. You believe perhaps that this satellite finding system is controlled from this facility?
If not, they at least have some sort of unit that helps control that. And I'm working off of the theory that sending some sort of a feedback loop from here to whatever satellite they have in position would cause enough of a blackout to give room, give opportunity to run, provided we could make it past the fields.
Otherwise, they'll just continually come after us. This makes sense.
Right.
How much of the layout of this facility have you been able to map?
I've been able to map out some. Again, I'm not going to push my luck. I have most of the cell block mapped out, and I do know where it connects to their their advanced laboratories.
All right then. The guards who patrol, I take it you've seen them before. How many and how often?
I've gotten it down to a pattern. If that's what you're inquiring.
Yes. I wonder if there's any way for us to at least limit the power in these collars, giving us some sort of edge, since it may not be inhibiting you, but it's clearly inhibiting all of us.
Again, I could assist with that, and you can see that the shadows kind of roll up and into a hand, to an extent, but a shadowy kind of clawed-like hand, and it turns and just kind of waves.
Well, we'd want to do this as soon as possible. All of us are awake and good now. Shown, how are you feeling? Or do you think you'd be able to move or use your powers once the fields are deactivated?
Well, I feel like I got hit by a train, but yeah, I think I could teleport if I didn't have this thing.
All right.
Well, except for the field that inhibits teleportation.
Correct. So then the first order of business would be to see if we can regain our powers. Namely, that would mean disabling these collars.
I mean, if you could get these collars off, I could, short circuit anything that they have up.
She says, well, there's part of the problem. The collars are linked to a network of communication devices within this facility. So they also act as trackers. So if I remove them arbitrarily, I have no way of inhibiting their ability to connect to their network. It's going to let them know that the device failed.
Let's see.
That is a bit out of my wheelhouse. Hopefully one of you can come up with something, because I'm not that good with electronics.
Understood. I can take a look at them. I'll look at one of yours to see if there's a way to maintain the remote beacon while deactivating the power nullification. That way they won't be aware that it's actually deactivated, but they'll still track us and think it's active. So Hyperion will go to Lightbringer's collar, and he's going to start looking at it to see how it ticks.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your reason.
I was about to ask if he has enough light to do that, and then I remembered he has glowy eyes, so it's probably good.
Anything, he just looks up to it real close. Let's see. And that's that. Okay. And I take it I do not have access to my hyper invention because that's a power?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Right. Oh, would I be able to use the repair/tinkering talent?
Yes, you can.
Nice. Makes that monstrous. My feet. We're gonna re-roll that.
This is a little important.
Oh,
You want to burn some karma?
yeah, exactly. Okay, monstrous. So
Except
would we
we lost all our karma.
But we just got new karma. So
for the month. That's right.
Yeah, for the
okay.
month. So we're back up to our 300 that we do. So if I were to spend 20, that would ensure at least a green. Is that cool, everybody? Okay. Here we go.
And Dale, you have another reroll thanks to Brittany.
Thank you. Cool. So that brings it to a 76, which is still yellow.
Okay. So, and take it. The benefit here is that you've already been over this technology before. You know the Aegis Foundation uses them. They've let you, borrow some so you can examine it for your own, purposes. And looking this over, this is actually a primitive version of what they have.
Okay.
Based on what you're looking at, the metals and everything. Obviously, you can't open it up
Right.
without risk of it going off, but just how it's structured, your mind is going over what is perhaps in it, and how the mathematically, like how you would lay out a board here and wiring, so on and so forth. So you can tell because it is a little bit bigger and clunkier than the ones that you're used to seeing.
Okay.
What you would also notice after thorough examination, as there's a good chance that this does not limit psychic powers.
Okay. So then looking at that, he'll then look to Lightbringer and say, I'd like you to try to communicate with me telepathically. Send me any type of message. See if I receive it.
Am I going to get a feedback headache?
It may be possible, but I find it's unlikely. This may be why our new friend here is able to use her powers, because they're based psychically. These collars aren't as advanced as the ones we've seen before. It may lack that ability to nullify that.
Okay. I'll try it. Oh, 92 red.
Okay. So what do you say?
Testing 1 2 3.
Okay, so she's like really trying at this point to get through there because she's expecting a big resistance.
Yeah.
So it's as if somebody had a megaphone and in your mind said, testing 1 2 3. You're like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah, you see like Hyperion's eyes like close for a moment. It's like, they're not glowing and then they're glowing again. He's like, you definitely still retain that ability. Excellent. That is something.
Okay, and I feel fine, so that's a good sign. Should I try and reach Xenofreeze?
Let's see how far this stems. Do you believe that your empathic abilities are also linked psychically, or are those different?
Yeah, I mean, I use the same ability to,
So the lady at this point, while you guys are testing this out, just kind of crosses her legs and sits in the corner and just watches, bemused.
I can try that.
Go for it.
Another red, 94.
Okay.
Too bad
so,
this is not on something super important.
So you extend your mind to try and pick up on the feelings of all those around, and you must pick up easily 100 individuals. It's hard to sort them out all at once, but yeah, multiples all at once. You're just it's for you, especially like, have you ever been in a really cold environment and you've just been huddled up for so long that when you finally stretch, it feels good, but it feels tight as well because you're so used to being close and shivering. That's what it feels like right now as you're letting your mind kind of expand out and pick up the emotions of others around you.
Oh my gosh, there's hundreds of us in here.
Prisoners, staff, and others like us and what have you, likely. Excellent. So we know
and
that...
You also notice that this woman is really into Hyperion.
Can I
Like she's sensing that like through her empathy stuff? Oh, okay.
Yep.
can I you like communicate to him telepathically without rolling again?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
you've
gonna
established it. You're good.
okay, I'm gonna say I don't mean to alarm you, but it seems like our new friend might have a thing for synthetics.
A thing.
Um uh a fixation, a very keen interest,
Ah,
possibly emotional.
oh, I see. Uh,
Just so you're aware.
You make her hot.
Emotional damage.
She's like, I don't know how to discuss this tactfully. This is weird.
understood. Thank you for the information. She
Mhm.
did mention other synthetics and seemed interested.
I mean you particularly.
I'll be right back.
Ah.
Okay.
Just so you're aware.
Thank you. And so then, out loud, then Hyperion's all. Admittedly, we're not sure the depth and breadth of which of your powers are psychically linked and which are direct from your empowerment. You might want to try small tests of the other powers you possess, making sure not to make it too obvious. Perhaps try to hover, generate a slight beam of low power energy, things of that nature, to see what the limits of your power ability is.
Jerome, are we thinking like everything that I roll psyche in order to use? Poker face. Okay,
That is
fair
a great
enough.
question. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know what other powers there are that you don't use by rolling psyche. So, okay, so first she's gonna try and cast an illusion to go invisible.
Okay.
So I will roll. Green.
Okay. So you are facing stress unimaginable, and like that headache is, it's like somebody's taking an ice pick to the back of your neck.
Okay, and I'm going to take a little break from experimentation. Clearly, illusions are not going to work.
If you could tell me what you felt, it looks like you're distressed. That would help me understand the collar's function more.
Just a like real pain in my brain.
I see. All right. It affects central nervous system directly. Thank you. So then, looking at that and like learning what he has from it, can Hyperion tell the difference between like what allows it to transmit the like the homing beacon thing and what makes it nullify powers?
Not without opening it up.
Okay. So he takes a couple more seconds, look at it, and says, unfortunately, without having my tools, or at least a set of them to open it and see what's within, I'm not able to discern more. Nor do I have access to the program that allows me further analysis of it. However, now we know you at least have some ability, and we've learned there are many more. Perhaps if there are more like us and we are able to somehow shut down the power that keeps all of the fields humming, all of the bars energized, we may have extra allies when we want to attempt our escape. And we'd be saving them at the same time, technically.
There were a way that we could communicate that to a lot of people silently, that would be really useful, but
Can you?
not en masse. And I've never tried to touch anyone telepathically that I was not looking at or familiar with.
We are in a desperate situation. I need you to try what you can, to use what you can to help us now. You have the ability to bypass these collars in a way that the two of us can't. Can you somehow perhaps use your empathy to feel an individual and use that to guide your telepathy to that individual?
Yeah, I can try that.
If you can contact at least one, and if they share cells, they could be your mouthpiece to multiple people at the same time, if that's going to reduce the stress on your mind.
And at this point, the lady kind of holds her hand up and she says, observation?
Yes,
She says, you're really going to trust everyone in this prison?
that could be one thing that she attempts to find out when she's communicating with them. It's not as if she would need to give away who we are or who is actually contacting them mentally.
She says, no, that's true, but there are plenty of individuals in here that would easily sell you out if it meant just for a sliver of hope for themselves.
Then I take it
I
as your
could-
opinion we trust no one.
Not unless you know them personally. Sorry, I come from the street, sweetheart. I speak from experience.
I
If
see.
there are empowered people here in captivity, I don't want to leave them here.
And perhaps we can help them once we actually in effect an escape, rather than relying on them to help us with the escape. I'm going to tend to rely on the individual who's been here and who's been able to use her powers.
If you've been here for a couple of months, have you been able to tell what they're doing with us?
They're experimenting on us.
Have you seen people come and go?
I have. I don't know where they go, but there's definitely a contingent of individuals that do leave and never come back.
Do you know who's in charge?
I do not. See, I'm not giving them a reason to suspect me, and that's limiting some of the information I have.
I
Of
see.
course.
I didn't reach out until, of course, I started hearing your conversations, and no offense, I'm a little bit of a sucker for altruism. You had likable faces, with the exception of your Egyptian girl who looks a little beat up.
Jerome, I'm going to try reaching out to Xenofreeze
Okay.
if my brain can handle it.
Roll your psyche.
I don't have any like lasting effects from the feedback, do I?
No. Once you stop, it stops.
Green.
Okay. So, Xenofreeze, you are in a laboratory.
Oh, great.
You are actually in a beaker, and you've been separated into parts.
Ew.
Ow.
So yeah, it doesn't feel comfortable, but thankfully you're close enough that it's not like it's a dull pain. It's not a constant. Somebody here.
The pain of separation.
Yes. So, right now you're 3 degrees of separation. But
So-
puns aside,
When he gets to 7, he will turn into Kevin Bacon.
yes.
Oh no.
So it's obvious that somebody here has experience dealing with your kind.
Have I seen, or can I see, or have I seen the silhouettes of, I mean, out of character asking the question, have I seen silhouettes that would indicate that it was the Ubari?
That's your best guess, yes, is that it's you. Unfortunately, because you're in a liquid form, it's hard to actually see around anything that's not just directly above you. But based on some of the things that you've been hearing,
they're not clear. They're not clear flasks, then.
Yeah, they're clear flasks.
Oh.
But the way you're housed, you can only look directly up, so it's almost like conical because of the flasks that beakers essentially that you're in. And since you've been around Russians enough to know this doesn't sound a thing like natural Ubari speak. Like I said, it's a good guess you're around the Ubari. You're in some laboratory that most of the Ubari are in.
Okay. Well, this is great.
And then you feel you feel a presence in your mind.
And
Ixion, do you hear me?
Lightbringer?
Are you okay?
My body is dispersed into multiple containers. It is very uncomfortable.
Oh, is that that's not mortal, is it?
No, I can be separated, but it depends on the distance that the rest of me is. I have, I guess, what you could almost compare to a field about myself that I can sense the rest of my body nearby, but I cannot. It's odd.
Why don't you roll your reason and add your biology to it?
Okay, so my biology is a talent. So how do I do? Does that just put it as a column shift up?
Yep.
Okay, so my reason's an RM30, so that puts me at an IN40.
Okay. Incredible.
Is there a space after the roll? Or is it I? No,
just it's apostrophe.
Or exclamation roll.
Point. Yeah, sorry.
And then the abbreviation. No spaces.
Green.
Okay. You would know that on the normal Celant, this would be excruciating pain. The only thing saving you from potential death in the form that you're in right now is your genetic tie to your father.
And my endurance, basically.
Right. That's where you're getting your endurance from. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if they actually took these vials and pushed them out further, yes, you could potentially die.
My genetics that tie you and I together are what is keeping me in a sustainable state. However, if they were to separate me more, create more distance between my parts, if you will, then it could be fatal. And the only reason why I'm not in dire agony is because of my odd genetics in comparison to the normal Celanthi. This would be more than likely fatal or extremely torturous to the normal Celanth.
Do you think they knew that?
I am almost positive they have. And it makes me wonder why what I am assuming is the Uvari would do this to me, considering we are not hostile towards one another.
Well, here's what we know.
Offshoot.
We're somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Russia, and they are working with the Yubari. There are hundreds of superpowered beings, presumably deviant, in this facility with us. Hyperion, Chone, and I are all in a cell together. I haven't found Mosh Pit yet. But one of the other prisoners has been talking to us about the situation here. She's been here for a couple of months. But found that on examination of the inhibitor callers, it seems like they do not block psychic abilities, which is how I'm able to speak with you right now.
Ah, that is interesting.
We've been doing a little testing trying to figure out which of our powers are blocked and which are available.
In my current state, I couldn't tell you whether or not I am being inhibited or not. As I say, it is only my enhanced endurance and stamina that is keeping me from being in dire agony or even this being fatal to me at this time. It is unknown whether I am still wearing an inhibitor because I am contained and I cannot freely move.
What can you tell me about where you are?
I am in a laboratory.
Why don't
Is
you
there
give
anyone
me,
there with you?
Why don't you give me a intuition check at shift 0? It's hard,
There is a
but it's
ceiling.
possible. There is a ceiling.
Shift 0. What's the abbreviation for that one?
It's S0, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
S0.
Yeah.
He sees that there are fluorescent lights.
Aha! They actually have energy savers.
I rolled a 96 and I got a yellow.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Hallelujah.
We're doing good this game.
Yes.
So,
Don't jinx it.
We better knock on wood right now.
Yes.
Part of the reason why this is difficult is because your body is separate, so your mind biologically is having to try and see through 3 parts, and it's like
So I'm at
creating this
3 pieces
feedback
then.
in your head, like I'm not supposed to look this way. I'm not supposed to see in triplicate. So you're like focusing. You're like, okay, I can see that there's a ceiling. I already know that, but then you invert it kind of on yourself, which hurts like hell. But you look down and you can see obviously what's on the desk, and you can see that there is some sort of device that looks kind of like a boilerplate, in a sense. You've never seen it before, but if you had to guess, this may be like a minor inhibitor field.
Right.
Oh, okay. And I'll explain that to
And you
her.
can
It
see the
seems
stands, obviously the beakers are on, and it's sitting directly on the plate.
right. So I can only see immediately below or
Yep, immediately
the ceiling.
below. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That was painful. I was able to refocus my sight internally, which shouldn't happen that way, being separated. But it seems that each of me is on what would resemble a hot plate that I am assuming is some sort of inhibitor field generator. I am in 3 containers.
Is
And
anyone else with you?
not that I am aware of at this current point in time. I cannot.
Have
I can't
they?
hear anybody talking or any movement or anything else like that right now.
No.
No.
Have
The
you
only thing
seen
you
or
hear right now is like the hum of air conditioning.
Right. The only thing I hear right now is the ambient electronics here in this area.
is they probably don't have air conditioning in the middle of Russia in the winter.
Really?
Oh.
I'm
But-
glad you know these things.
Um,
But I'm hearing ambient electrical devices and noise. I am curious almost, in the event that you are able to collect me and essentially put me back together,
oh, we will.
please be sure to check if there are more.
Okay.
I am only
you-
3. If there are more containers, then a small part of me hopes that maybe there is kindred here. If they are doing this to me, they obviously have experience doing this to my kind.
Okay. And you haven't seen or heard from anyone at the facility?
Initially, I am unable to hear very well, but what I gathered from my experience is it sounds Russian, as you say. I cannot understand, but and did you say I heard like another dialect too?
Yeah.
I believe I may have heard Ubari, but I am unsure with the distortion because it may have been Ubari speaking in Russian.
And then you hear,
There's
and someone comes walking in, and they're whistling.
I hear someone approaching.
I'll stay with you.
And someone, they approach real quick, and then a glass stirrer is stuck down into the center beaker for you, and they spin you around.
Right round, baby, right round.
Yep.
Like
Man,
a record, baby.
We are on tonight for just like weird and weird jokes and whatnot.
It's a full moon, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so and then you hear a voice say, "Rise and shine, my little babushka," or whatever that word is. These people, they say it's a term of endearment. And he's like ding-a-ling-a-ling, and he just like stirs each of the containers.
I'm being stirred right now, and he is asking me to wake.
Okay. Don't let them don't let on that you're able to speak with me.
Absolutely not.
And so he
So does he take me off the
No,
inhibitor plates? No.
no, he keeps you there.
Oh.
And so he stirs. He says, "I'm using their primitive technology, but I believe I've rigged a voice box that should allow you to resonate through the beakers and into the voice box. It's an experiment. Let's try."
I speak to him in Salanth.
Okay, so you just speak out and whatever. So
Is it swear words?
In whale song?
okay, so
Can
so
you understand me?
okay, so you end up hearing like this very, very robotic, like speak and spell sound, emanate out of the thing. And he's like, "Oh, oh, oh." And then you're like, "Can you understand?" It's like, "Can you understand me?" And he's like, "Eureka!"
Oh, I say that in Salanth, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's how it translates. And he
Okay.
says, and he's, and he cheers. He's like, "Yes, I am a genius." They said it couldn't be done. He says, but the speak and spell, it works. Whatever the
Out
heck
of
this thing
character.
is.
Out of character. Oh my hell. Um, uh,
So do you understand me?
no.
Okay, so then it responds, no. And he says, aha! This is good. Not only do you understand me, but you have sarcasm. Excellent. And how are we today?
Is this translating me?
Is this
Or
translating me?
do I hear that?
Yeah,
So it's actually translating into English.
yeah. And not
Oh,
Russian.
wow. But I'm like speaking Salanthi
Yeah,
and it's translating to English.
yes. Through a speak and spell.
How do you know Salanthi?
And so he waits for a second as it's like rattling that off. And he says, oh, I need to do something about this modulation. This sounds horrible. Wonderful, but horrible. It's a breakthrough. And he says, I did a tour of duty on a space station near Zenri about like 5 years ago. Picked up the whole dialect. I've got it on a couple of discs. Brought it with me. It's worked out fantastic.
What race are you?
Oh, you probably can't see me. And so he leans over and looks into one of the beakers. So like all of a sudden this giant face through one of the beakers is like looking down at you, kind of like through one eye. And he's Ubari.
Ubari.
He
Why?
says, I didn't think to ask because you looked so different, but you're familiar with my people, right?
We are not hostile toward one another.
That's
Unless
right. You're not
something-
hostile towards anybody.
Then why are you torturing me as such?
And so he pauses a second, letting everything catch up. And he says, wait, torture you? You can't maintain a shape. I'm trying to repair you. It was just some stroke of genius that I was able to fix this speak and whatever. I don't understand their technology. This speak and spell to make it work.
You do not understand the Salanth biology. Separating us can in turn potentially be fatal.
Ah, you are correct. However, I have noticed some sort of bizarre genetic anomaly within your makeup. I'm trying to isolate that to see why you can't form. I tried triggering a physical form when you were unconscious, and like nothing's working. I think those Russians did something to you.
Do you have me on some sort of inhibitor?
Yes, that's for your protection.
My protection?
So how much do you remember?
I remember being attacked by empowered beings while my partner and I were striving to rescue imprisoned empowered beings.
Wow, so you became like a rebel here amongst all these monkeys?
They are much more advanced than you would think. Their emotional status is exponentially
topic
has
for another
potential.
day. But you,
Yes,
so that's all you remember, like whatever led you to get to this state.
I was struck by some sort of inhibitor in which I liquefied, and then I was frozen.
Oh, damn them. They took out
I
experimental technology and they shouldn't have been using that, and you got shot with it. I knew something like that was going to happen.
Inside my head, Lightbringer, the rays that they used us on Hyperion and I were experimental. I am speaking with an Ubari who is evidently, from what he says, trying to save me and help me. But the rays or the inhibitor beams that they cast on us were not supposed to be used as of yet, he said.
He's trying to help you?
That is what he states. As far as it seems, he has found a way to manifest my voice through my vibrations. And we are communicating.
Does he seem diabolical to
Not
you?
at all. He seems giddy that his voice modulator is working. I do not get the feeling that he is malicious. However, he is still keeping me on these inhibitor plates, quote, for my own good. Let me communicate with him more.
So he takes the Glaster and taps on the side. It's like ting 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 ting. He's like, hey, wake back up.
I apologize. It is difficult communicating in this fashion.
I can imagine. I'm picking up like all kinds of weird stuff in genetic anomalies. Like I've never seen anything like this.
Are you a biologist?
Oh, I am so sorry. Yes, absolutely. Xenobiologist specifically.
Xenobiologist?
Yes.
Have I, in my educational travels, have I dealt with or worked with or heard of Ubari scientists?
Yeah.
Do I know any by name? Whether personally or
yeah, I mean you definitely I mean I don't have one to provide you, but yes, I
right.
mean there are established Ubari scientists that are well known.
What is your name? And then he would tell me, I would hope, maybe.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, Frill."
Is it a name that I'm familiar with?
No. He says that's the closest our language translates to this monkey yip.
Who did you study under?
Oh, he says, I didn't study at home. I actually studied abroad. And he names off, he names off an academy, actually in the corporate sector.
You don't know him. He's from Canada.
All right. Excuse me.
To be fair,
I fancy myself also a biologist.
oh, excellent. Then maybe you can help me out with this. I have never seen Silent biology look anything remotely like it's. it's almost as if there's like something else mixed in here, but then I'm seeing some sort of radical mutation in here as well. Something that definitely did not come from this device that they shouldn't have used that shall not be named. Have you in your travels so far, have you experienced any sort of like allergy reaction to these monkeys or anything that they do, or consumed anything that didn't sit well with you, or I don't know, interaction
No,
with radiation or something?
there was an irradiation event that myself and another member of our team experienced, in which things changed.
Are they one of the monkeys as well?
They are an empowered.
Okay, so empowered monkey. I'm assuming that term is what you're
If
using
you
for
if you
like the heightened abilities and whatnot.
yes,
Okay.
not a
Weird.
standard monkey, if you will.
Right. So like the ones that these others are kind of capturing in mass. Okay.
Yes.
Huh. Are they here with you?
It is unknown to me. I don't exactly have a good vantage point.
Oh, right. You probably can only see above you. Uh, do they have a name? I mean, all of them have names. If they're here, I could probably make a call or something and get a sample.
I don't know if I am willing to divulge that information to you. I hope you understand why, considering the circumstance that I am in.
Oh,
Although it is very intriguing.
fair enough. I hadn't actually considered that. Uh, okay. Well, I mean, there's little I can do then. You're going to have to kind of sit like this until I can figure this out without that lead. But I'll tell you what. Why don't you think it over? You know, at rest. I'm sure you're a mess right now. It, do you do these monkeys have any sort of like music that you like? I know sound waves are kind of your thing.
They enjoy a variety of music.
I don't have a variety here, so you're gonna have to kind of be specific. I was gonna put something on for you.
You can play almost anything, and I enjoy the vibrations.
Okay. If you'll hang out here, let me get a one of those. I think they call them a record player or something. It's got this big speaker attached to it. I have to crank it. It's so primitive. Good lord. But yeah, let me get that, and I'll be right back.
Very well. And then back to Lightbringer. I kind of briefly fill her in. He is asking about you because I briefly mentioned of our event that we were irradiated.
Do you think he's trying to separate or identify that part of your genetic signature from the rest?
Yes, but I am unsure whether or not he is doing it maliciously. It does not seem so, but he was, when I stated that one of my team was also, he stated when he, with the sample of myself, he noted different additions to my DNA in addition to the normal Salanthi DNA, and then a mutation.
And Nutcracker
the
starts to
mutation.
play in the background.
Oh.
Dun, dun,
And-
dun, 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 dun.
And then he said that there is some sort of mutation. He had specifically asked if I had been irradiated or exposed to some exterior substance or radiation. And I stated that yes, myself and one of my team were, in which we suffered some changes.
Do you see any benefit in him trying to isolate or identify that gene?
Yes, me being able to manipulate my physical structure as I naturally should.
I wish we knew more about
Him?
what their motivations are here.
Yes. He specifically mentioned that he asked for your name and if I knew if you were here. And I stated that it was unknown to me if you were here or not, considering my condition. And he asked for your name, which I did not divulge, because he wants to see about possibly getting a sample from you to see if he could compare the two and isolate what is same between you and I. Although I am leery, especially considering the fact of our familial ties.
Right. He's definitely going to see more than just the radiation.
He would see the common radiation, and then he would also see
right.
DNA strands that would indicate our siblinghood.
Well, I don't know. It could be useful if he could help you figure out how to change your form again, but I don't know if that's something we couldn't just figure out on our own. Why don't you
He
sit
seems
tight?
to have advanced technology more than what I have.
It's
and what we
possible that
have.
that's what we need. Why don't you sit tight while I update everybody else on your situation, and then I'll reach out again shortly.
Very well.
Okay, and hold that thought. All right. So, Davey. So, as you have been working now for a week, so you're still kind of new guy on campus
Okay.
here at Quantum Unlimited.
I got the job.
Yeah. So,
Let's go.
but you so you're actually in the powers division. So initially you're a test subject, but once they figure everything out,
Yeah.
then you're made a part of a team as kind of like a subject matter expert for whatever it is that you do.
Okay.
The person who's giving you the tour and setup and whatnot, her name is Michelle. She's actually been here for several months beforehand, and because of staff shortages, she's the one that's doing this kind of the rigmarole for this particular division. But she has kind of walked you around the offices, let you know what's what and where. They do have some scientists on hand to help you measure some of what what you have for your power output and whatnot, like what it is that you're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't begun any sort of tests yet because they're waiting. They're waiting until you pass certain checks because they don't want to just start jumping into it. Then you turn around and sue and
They got to
whatever.
get that government, that Government clearance.
Yeah.
And legality purposes and whatnot. You know, they got to make sure that all the paperwork's going to come in and background checks check out, so on and so forth.
Fair
So
enough.
you have basically a temp badge that, you know, gets you in and out of some of the basic places. But as you are, you know, kind of walking around and doing your thing, you know, she asks, you know, so I know you've been here, you know, about a week now. She says, why did you, based on your background, why did you choose to come here?
I needed, well, basically to make it short, I'm looking for work. So I thought maybe Quantum Unlimited could hire me, and you guys did. So
She says, yeah, but I thought it said on your resume that you were like an engineer or something like that.
yeah, hopefully I can get. Does Quantum Unlimited do structural engineering? I'd imagine they would.
She says, not that I'm aware of. She kind of shakes her head. You'd have to
That's-
ask the big boss about that, but he's pretty indisposed. They're more electronics and genetics.
Okay. I'd imagine since working with powers, you'd want to build buildings that could withstand certain abilities, like someone with super strength or something like that.
I mean, you're the engineer, not me. So I mean
Yeah.
that makes sense. So maybe they saw something like that.
That
I
works.
mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to make sure that your buildings are capable of withstanding superpowered or empowered attacks.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And you end up seeing some guy, you know, come walking out of the, you know, he comes walk. Basically, you guys are near the labs, and he comes, you know, walking out. He has kind of a red and white outfit with a big R blazoned right on his chest. He's got, you know, some wraparound goggles, you know, on his head, and he seems kind of upset, and he's like, "Well, I never." You know, the red grip is never coming back here again. As he comes, you know, storming out, she kind of like looks and, you know, watches him go by.
Oh man, I wonder what happened.
And she's like, I don't know. And you know, and he's like wagging his finger, you know, from behind. He's like, I have powers, I tell you, I have powers. And just kind of, you know, makes his way out the front door.
That's odd. I guess they didn't pick up any of his powers. That's weird.
That would be a first.
Yeah.
I mean, there are big brains behind this organization. So I mean, if they can't pick him up, maybe he doesn't have them. I don't know, but
how popular is the red grip?
not very.
Oh, okay. So I wouldn't have heard of him.
No, probably not.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right.
He's very popular in his own mind.
Very popular in his own mind.
Yes.
So Isaiah's going to check his watch. What time is it?
At this point, it's afternoon, so we'll say about 1.
So probably after lunch then. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So yeah, Michelle, what do you have any powers?
She says, me? Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, what can you do?
I have a secret identity now, so I am not at liberty to say, because that would spoil it.
Okay.
And those I am tied to probably wouldn't appreciate that either. So, yeah,
fair enough.
I'm going to have to kind of decline.
I completely understand. That makes sense.
Apologies.
It's quite all right. Let's continue on with the tour.
Okay. And so as you were, she's basically taking you around to pretty inconsequential areas, unfortunately, because you don't have the security clearance to go into, you know, some of the higher end things.
Yeah.
And you end up walking in to an office area where it's I don't want to say it's well, the execs do have offices here. They're not always in them, but mostly it's for their assistants, as well as lower end executives who
Okay.
typically see the day to day.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably try and find that abandoned office building that I think it was recently bulldozed. But people who go and sneak inside places that are abandoned and just film them did that for this one, and like most everything in there was intact.
Oh, wow.
And it was swanky. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of water damage here and there because there's nobody around to spot those things anymore. But
Yeah.
it's not like it was growing moss or anything. Like if you
It
had
was
somebody went and fix those, you could probably move a whole company into it.
fair enough.
But that being said, so she's kind of basically this wing of the office building is like that. Like it looks very different from everything. It's a little on the swanky side.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because obviously the execs come here and their assistants, and obviously it's specifically designed for people coming in to see the execs because it displays power, it displays success. That's what it's designed to. It's got this nice kind of glass chandelier thing,
Mm-hmm.
sculpture kind of coming down that sparks light off of it when when the daytime rolls overhead, and then it has little like LED lights in it to illuminate, so it illuminates the hall really nicely you know when sun isn't actually beaming in, and she's just kind of walking down the hallways and pointing out the executive offices and whatnot. And as she's doing that, you see a woman come walking around the corner out of one of the offices. And she's in kind of like a white business power suit with she's got a black tie. She has naturally silver hair at
Mm-hmm.
this point. She's probably pushing 60 right now, like a just getting into her older age Helen Mirren
Okay.
sort of thing.
That's what I was picturing. Yeah.
Yeah. Although not British, but that kind of look, like very aging incredibly gracefully. And she walks up and she sees Michelle there, and she says, Michelle, I haven't seen Mr. Onette, and I haven't seen Carmen anywhere. You wouldn't happen to know anything? And she kind of says, Miss McCall, no, I mean, they have business, with the company. And she kind of fumbling with her words a little bit there. And she says, and sometimes, they're gone for a bit. She says, no, I know. And she looks at she looks at you, Davy,
Mm-hmm.
for a second. Hold on one second. That's not where I wanted to go. There we are. And she says, as she looks at you, and she says, Mr. Harper, correct?
Yes. Hi. You must be Miss McCall.
Yes, Miss McCall. And so Michelle's like, oh, Miss McCall was a former reporter. Now she's a businesswoman, runs a school, I think. And she says, yes, I run an academy in New York.
Oh, that's nice.
So for empowered individuals.
That's really amazing. That's really good. Sometimes empowered people get denied education because of our genetic anomalies.
That is very correct. And she says, Michelle, could I borrow him for a moment, please? And she's like, of course. She says, okay, well, we don't have much else for the tour today, so I guess when you're done, just go back to the front desk and check out, and they'll help you finish clocking out.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Have a good day.
And so she just waves, and So she, motions with you to follow her, and she says, "Is there any other reason why you came to this work at this location, Mr. Harper?"
No, why? I was able to graduate with my structural engineering degree, and I came here. You guys seem pretty open to empowered people, so I figured why not try and get a job here.
And she says, "Oh, I'm not actually with the company. I just
Oh. Hmm.
know most of the board."
Oh, okay. Well, that's basically the reason why Quantum Unlimited sounded very open to my situation, and hopefully I can be of help. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of plans about how to uh, make buildings and help reinforce buildings to withstand like maybe superpowered attacks, let's say, or maybe to help reinforce them for superpowered peoples who
I see.
maybe way more, that sort of thing.
I see. Follow me, please.
Sure.
And so she just goes walking back, and she, flashes a badge up to the powers division laboratories where they do all the testing. You actually haven't been in here. And she says, "Don't worry, he's with me." And there's like, "Oh, okay." Security just kind of lets her in and,
Yeah.
zaps the thing.
Do you need to see my badge? No. Okay.
They're just like, "Oh, no, if you're with Miss McCall, it's fine."
Fair enough. Okay.
And in fact, the people who work security for this particular wing of the office, they don't have uniforms for this company. They're private contractors.
Oh, okay. So civilian clothes then, or do they like suit and tie? Or
No, actually, they have specific uniforms that they wear. They're a part of the Aegis
Okay.
Foundation.
Oh, okay, okay.
So as she goes walking back, into the laboratory, she says, "Have you had your powers tested, Mr. Harper?"
With the company, no, but when I was younger, I think I have some psychic ability, and I think I regenerate pretty well.
You think?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're probably accurate then. But let's stress test that, shall we? And she just kind of gives you a stiff arm into the room.
Okay.
And she walks into the technicians area where they've got they've basically got some other lab coats in there that they're monitoring something, and there's a girl in there. She's probably late teens, maybe early 20s, but that's pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
She has multiple eyes, very much like an insect. Kind of coming back. She has dragonfly wings, like coming off of her back.
Ooh.
And she says, "Oops, I passed it up. 1 second." She says, "Dragonfly, sweetheart, if you could do me a favor, we're going to test out the new individual here for some stress tests, and I figure it would probably be good for you to get a workout in today, anyways." And she just kind of gives a thumbs up. She says, "All right, Miss McCall, whatever you say." And so she kind of looks at you, and she cracks her knuckles, real quick, and she says, "You've never been through one of these yet?"
No. What's gonna happen?
No. Okay. Roll your intuition.
Intuition. Int EX20. So
You intuit that you're about to have your butt handed to you.
Yep. So what is it? EX? Let me check the.
It should be EX20, I think, or.
Yeah. So
you're muted, Dan.
exclamation roll.
White feet.
EX.
White feet. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if you meant to, but Dale, you're muted. So, so yeah, you're just like, so yeah, kind of like, inquisitively, and she kind of spins a little bit with her back. An energy burst fires off of her wings. It ends up like striking you square in the chest. Just bam!
Ow, my suit! No!
Which, there's like a big, kind of mark.
Scorch mark. Yeah,
And
odd.
and so you end up taking 20 points of damage.
All right.
And she's like, and then when she sees that, she's all, oh, that's not like a, and she's like looking, like looking at the window at this point, like trying to describe that's not like a uniform that's going to take anything. And Ms. McCall's just like, and so she's just like, okay. And she turns around and gets ready to do it again.
All right. Well, I guess.
So we're at initiative at this point. So
All right.
What is your intuition?
Int EX20.
Okay, so at an EX20, that is going to give you, so roll a d10 and add 1 to it.
1d10 plus 1. 9.
Oh.
10.
So
10. Sorry, 10.
You are going first.
Okay. Very good.
So obviously you do not have your bow with you.
Nope, no bow. So we're just gonna have to fisticuff this. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Let's start swinging.
Okay, so run in and try to punch her.
Yep. Run in and bop
Okay.
right in the jaw.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your fighting then. Before you do, I need to pull my thing up here. Here we go. So it is at -4 column shifts.
-4 column shift.
She is actively trying to dodge.
Okay.
And she got a good roll.
1, 2, 3. So that's at a feeble, if I got that right.
What's your fighting?
Fighting. Oh, yeah, fighting EX20.
Okay, so if it's 4
1,
column
2,
shifts, so
3,
1, 2, 3,
4.
4. So no, if it's from 20, 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, it's feeble.
Feeble 2. Okay. All right. FB. So roll it at FB.
Beeb.
White feet.
White
Swing
feet.
and a miss.
Okay, so you swing and she kind of, zips out of the way as she, swings in for a kick. You were not attempting to dodge. Her fighting is good.
I'm so sorry we used up all the good rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally did.
Okay. Since she sees that you're now, you're not, you don't have like armor or anything.
Yeah.
She ends up kicking you for 10 points of damage. Piff! So
All right.
catches you right in the side. You have you've actually healed all the damage you took from that blast. As of this round.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So I'm back to so 106.
And so
Nice.
she sees that and she's all, oh hey, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Swinging again.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
swinging.
swinging again. Punch or kick.
Another punch.
Okay, and are you attempting to be evasive?
I will be evasive.
Okay, go ahead and roll your agility.
All right.
So that is IN 40. Let me know what result you get.
IN 40. Green feet.
Nice. Okay, she's down 2 column shifts to try and hit you. Go ahead and roll your fighting. You are. Let me see. 2 column shifts down as well.
Typical.
So you are attempting to fight her at a typical. So you're both looking a little nimble right now.
TY. White feet.
Okay, so
Swing and a miss.
swing and a miss. She comes in to try and hit you. And she also swings and misses.
Oh.
But now that she sees you're really nimble and you've healed everything, she's like, okay, kid gloves are off now.
Oh no.
Nice.
So the 10 damage from the kick.
It's gone.
Okay. All right. Wow. I did not.
Be right back, guys.
Okay.
Okay. I did not know that. Okay. So would I have to roll my agility every time I want to continue to be evasive?
Yes.
Or...
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So
Because you're not always going to be positioned right in a fight.
Okay. All right. So
She's
agility.
attempting to be evasive at this point too. She is not.
Green feet.
You are green
Oh.
feet. Okay, so she is down 2 column shifts to try and hit you. You are not at any minus because she's not moving as well as you are. So go ahead and swing. You are at your full EX20.
Yes. Green feet.
And you swing with a blunt. Poof! That is a hit.
Yes.
So now, as you step in real quick and you're getting kind of the groove at this point,
Mm-hmm.
you're not trained as a fighter, but you're getting the movements and square off, bam! Actually connected with her that time. And she's like, oh! So she flicks her wings at you to fire off another blast. And she is 2 column shifts down. Oops, let me expand this out a little bit so I can see it. There we go. That is still a hit, but barely. Okay, so zap. So she ends up striking you for 40 points of damage.
Ooh.
Square in the chest. There's no impact, obviously, because it's energy. So you've got like this big red, nasty, like kind of exposed, shot at that point. Still, you have the initiative at this point. So
I have the initiative. Okay, let's swing.
okay.
Let's keep swinging.
All right, so you swing. So punch, kick,
Punch. Another punch.
Not a punch. Okay, so you are still attempting to be evasive, yes?
Yes.
Roll your agility first.
White feet.
White feet. Oh, so you did not plant well with that one, and you are left wide open potentially.
Mm-hmm.
She is moving very, very well at this point. And you are 4 column shifts down.
1, 2, 3, 4. So feeble. F-E.
Yep.
Oh, F-B. Not F-E. Nope. All right. Let me try again. Green feet.
Green feet. Okay. That was to attack?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Nice.
so.
So
Yeah.
bam! So you end up drilling her again, despite being out of position. You still kind of, swing up a haymaker. Your strength is TY6.
Strength TY6.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So you're nickel and diamond, or you're getting in there. You're as they would say, hang in tough. You have healed 20 points of that damage previously.
Okay, so
And she returns fire with her wings. She's a little frustrated at this point. Amps up her wings and scores a bullseye. Give me an endurance check.
Endurance. IN 40.
Nice.
Roll. Yellow feet.
Oh, no detrimental effect. Nice. So you get like clocked right in the head between the eyes with that burst.
Mhm.
And impressively, like as you get hit, all you do is you got this big scorch mark right across your face, but which is already starting to heal. But you're just like, oh, you kind of just shake it off real quick, and you're right back in the zone.
Right back in it. Yep.
So that was another 40 points. So you have 60 points total. Top of the round, you've healed 20 of that. You're at 40 again.
Okay. So another 20.
Yes. So
Okay.
you're at right now. I'm mentally actually kind of keeping track of the damage.
Oh,
you've
okay.
taken.
What's your number?
You're at 40 right now.
40. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let us continue to be evasive.
Okay, go
because
ahead
she
and
does
roll
not
your
like that.
agility.
Red feet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you both are actually really quick on your feet. You both are -6 column shifts
Woo.
to hit. So you
Okay.
so at this point you both are probably like, okay, this is not happening again, and like really trying to outflank one another.
Mm-hmm.
So the best you can do for either one of you is shift 0.
Shift 0. Okay. S0. Do I need to have it capitalized? Let me see. I
I think
do.
so, yeah.
Yep.
Less than shift 0 is like comatose attack.
91 green feet.
Oh, 91. Nice.
Let's go.
Okay, 1 second.
Ah!
I love that 91 is just green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're all.
Yeah.
Hey, but what was it, 93 or 94 that I rolled on a feeble? It
Was yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So close.
So she ends up firing, strikes out. You didn't quite hit you, and you just like wing a punch as best you can,
Yeah.
and you end up catching her like right in the face.
Yes.
Oh no.
What happened?
Well, it's a blunt attack. So you hit her. You actually hit, even though it's TY6. You clipped her with enough of a punch, like she's like flying backwards, and ends up hitting, like stumbling back, a slam result in essence.
Oh wow. Okay.
So she's not stunned, but she's like buckling back, and at that point you hear the speakers come on. You hear, "Okay, that's enough," and you've healed another 20 points of damage.
Okay.
And so, and she's just like, "Oh man!" And then she sees that you're healing. She's like, "Man, that is cool."
You're pretty awesome too with the energy blast. I'm gonna need a new suit now though.
And she's like taking a moment and looking. And she's like, "Man, and your hair is growing back too. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that's. Can you like lop off a finger or something and it just grows back?"
I don't want to try that.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't want to risk that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. And so
Yeah.
Miss McCall comes, walking back in, and she
I'm
says,
back.
Welcome back. And she says, "Mr. Harper, curious.
Yes.
Why didn't you ask for a bow before we entered?"
I had no idea I was going to be fighting. I thought I was just taking a tour of the company.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know we were going to stress test. Literally.
And she's watching like the last bit of your, your damage healing up, and she says, "Interesting enough." She says, they've got some preliminary numbers, obviously, from monitoring this. They're probably going to want to test you for some other things. From what I understand, you are looking for work, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
She says, so, Mr. Harper, why don't we get you a new suit and we discuss a business opportunity that I have for you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, let's go.
And she says, Miss McCall, what about me? And she says, "Oh no, I'm going to need you back at the school." And she's like, "Aw." And she says, "No, I understand." She says, "This is a personal matter. This is not something I think the students are really ready for just yet." She says, "But I will make sure that Shield has everything taken care of. And because you were so great today in helping test out Mr. Harper, I will make sure that you actually have the next 2 days off from class." And she's like, and she goes, "Ooh, okay. And she says, and she's like, does it mean I can go off campus? And she says, you can go off campus as well. And she's like, what?
Hey, good job. Give her a high
Okay,
five.
so she high fives you back. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
She says, I am so sorry about the suit. I thought that was like, I thought you were just like GQ hero. Like, I thought that was going to absorb something, and I
Yeah, it was new to me too. So no bad feelings. Don't worry about it.
so she she goes walking off at that point. So they hand you overalls right now because your
Yeah.
outfit is trashed. And
have
she
to go
goes
down
to
to-
and she
They
goes to
don't.
take
They don't
you.
have Quantum Unlimited T-shirts on hand.
I'm sure they do, but not necessarily on hand. Like the
Got to push
polos.
the merch, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what do you give your employees for their Christmas bonus, right?
Yeah, I mean, mugs, crappy
Exactly.
pens,
Fruitcake.
obviously. Fruit.
Right here.
Last season's T-shirts that they
Arctic
couldn't move on the
coolers.
website.
Stanley cups.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we're not. Maybe like Chinese knockoff.
Yeah, I was going
There
to
you
say
go.
maybe Timu
Yeah.
versions of
We get
Stanley,
everything
but
from Timo.
but
Which-
not
Yeah.
not the real thing.
Oh gosh.
Here's a Stanley cup. Did you say a Stanley cup? No, it's a Stinley. STINLEE cup.
Yet another knockoff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so back to those
I have to
in
get 3
Russia.
of
So
those.
Ms. McCall is actually going to be taking you out to buy you a new outfit. But as she does, and you live here in
Strongford. Yep.
Strongford, correct? And
Yeah. I don't have like. Do we have neighborhoods and stuff?
we did
set
not
up?
roll your resources.
Oh, come on. Let's go.
Roll 1d100 in the chat real quick.
Come on. Let's do it. Hyper wealthy. Let's go.
She gets a 1.
16. No.
You might as well have been a 1.
You might as well have been a
And
one.
this is why he needs a job.
Oh
And
no.
exactly. So you said 16.
Yep. 16.
So the job that you have just been given has given you a TY6 resources.
Nice. Let me
So
write that
obviously
down.
there's the potential for future growth, but right now you are at the same wage level as a 1994 fry cook.
Yeah, the mailroom makes even more than you do. That's bad.
Yeah. Gotta start
I
somewhere.
have powers. Come on.
I know,
Yeah.
you're right. But as you are
The janitor's like,
so
Yeah.
as she ends up taking you to Neiman Marcus
Ooh,
to
let's
get
go.
to get an outfit, she walks you through and she's just like lining stuff up to you, like she already has an eye of what it is that looks good on you already, and she's not even looking at the price tag, just
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm taking her.
throwing it in the basket,
Yes.
or
Yep.
bag or whatever have you,
Put it in the bag. Yep.
to take up front.
I will be looking at the price tags. He's not going to say anything, but the expression on his face is, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, too bad Joan wasn't there. She'd take you to Paris.
Oh,
She gets the 5-finger discount.
Yeah, and as she's doing so, and finishes, taking care of it, like the final tally on the order ended up coming to like $700.
okay. Which is a lot of money back in 1994.
Oh yeah, we're talking easily 2,000-3,000 at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's made sure that you have at least 3 good suits, or I should say, what do they call them again?
Suits?
No, they're zoot pieces, basically, like the slacks and the
Gotta have the shoulder pads.
and the blazer match, but then you
Mhm.
have you have like 5 different shirts you can mix and match with those as well.
Yes. Yes.
Does he have the shoulder pads?
Well, yeah, of course. This is the 90s.
Perfect.
This is the 90s.
So, and as she's doing that, she's just driving you around, in her sedan.
Yes.
And she, as you get done with that, she says, "Now, Mr. Harper, I know I can count on you for your discretion, given your background." She says, "But I have a specific task for you in mind."
All right. Sure. What do you need?
She says, "Well, first," and she slides some paperwork to you. She says, "This is a standard NDA."
Oh, look at the NDA.
Uh,
Start looking it over.
Sure. And she hands you a pin, and we're going to skip back over to Russia. I'll
All right.
get to you, with that in a second. But the rest of the players know exactly what that means.
Mhm.
While he reads through that,
Yep.
Yeah.
So back in Russia, Russia. As you were communicating, the lady ended up stepping back out of the cell as you guys saw some guards end up walking past on their regular patrol.
so
They do not have rifles that you are used to seeing. They do not look like they carry standard issued firearms. These look more on the high tech level of some kind.
Got it. Okay.
as they're passing, Carmen will stop talking, but she will have been explaining what information she got from Ixion.
Okay. And after you finish the explanation, Hyperion will be like, "Interesting. You mentioned that the Ubari was referring to humans as monkeys. It would seem they refer to your kind as lesser beings. He may not seem malicious, but it could seem as if the relationship is akin to a human being and a dog or a cat. They're considered less value, but at least worth communicating with to a degree. It doesn't
How would he
exactly
even
mean
know
that
what
they're on
monkeys
our...
are?
Well, if he is a xenobiologist and they've been here for any length of time, they may have been studying anything, especially that's close to humanity, to understand their genetics. Primates would be on that list.
That makes sense.
Seeing as how clearly they're trying to manipulate human genetics, if not empowered genetics. Well, it doesn't bode well. It does match what we've heard this type of facility is here for. Well, with that, if you're able to reach out to him, do you think you'd be able to find Mosh Pit since he isn't here?
I can try.
Please do.
Okay. Yellow.
Okay. So you reach out and look for that familiarity in the same way you tried to look for that familiarity for Ixion. Hey, Game Tease, how's it going? And you do not connect with anything.
Okay. So I will report that I can't get a beat on him. Maybe he's somewhere where it's blocked or something.
Yes. Hopefully. Well, at least we have contact with one, but it seems that he is not in a position where he can escape. But he can communicate with that Ubari. Doesn't necessarily mean that the Ubari is on our side. He is simply showing scientific interest.
Right.
I'm not sure how valuable that would be if he were to determine the source of Ixion's powers. We need to work as quickly as we can to escape. With that said, I'm not able to do that much as far as actually manipulating the collars without tools. We might need to do something with regard to you and her abilities. Speaking of which, any looks to the Shadow Lady, you haven't given us a name. What should we call you?
So she slips back into the shadows and into your cell. And she says, "You can call me Bitter Shadow."
Shadow. In case you weren't already aware, Hyperion, Lightbringer, and Shone.
And so, and with that, she kind of looks and starts, the wheels start, clicking at that point. She says, "You're the legacy.
Then
Interesting."
you've heard of us, yes.
See,
Well.
you're familiar.
Well, it's hard not to be familiar with anyone tied to anything New Prussia these days.
Ah,
I see.
and where are you from? How did they pick you up?
Oh, I mean, I was dallying about in Transnistria, probably somewhere where I shouldn't have been. It is what it is. I'm sort of wanted in a couple of nations.
Hmm. Interesting.
Do you mind if I ask what you're wanted for?
Oh, various felonies, mostly ranging around theft.
Let's see. Not that I am fine with that activity, but clearly we find ourselves in a position where we need each other's talents to escape successfully.
Precisely.
Okay, 5-finger discounts sometimes are good. Just saying.
If necessary. I
If
understand.
necessary.
I do need to
They're
change strategy.
not necessary as often as some people seem to think.
And she just kind of looks at the ceiling.
With that said, Bitter Shadow, is there any other information about the facility or the guards here that you think might help us?
She says, "Oh, you may have noted the rifles that they use.
Yes, clearly more advanced than conventional human firearms.
Those cartridges contain some sort of phase round. I've seen them shoot individuals with it, and they act almost like tasers, in a sense."
I see.
So if they've got tracking on these collars, how do they not know you're in our cell?
I am appearing within the compound itself.
So as long as you're in the compound, they
I'm
don't
not
really.
I'm not giving them a reason to go snooping around.
So
Yes.
if we could somehow trick the system into thinking our collars are still here in the compound, then we could escape.
But the collars also have to have a person in them, or they'll
Well,
go off. Right?
maybe we can put one. We can put the guards in them.
Yeah, Jerome, was Hyperion able to tell if these things had like an explosives or something, if like it
You'd
was
have
activated?
to open it up to find out.
Okay. So Hyperion will pipe in and go, unfortunately, without further access to these devices, I can't tell if there are any fail safes. I don't know the exact range. But if what Bitter Shadow's saying is correct, then these are mostly to make sure that those who try to escape the facility are tracked. As long as they're within the facility's range, they don't seem to matter. It's not as if they're actively tracked constantly.
Well, I can't think of a way that we're going to get out of this situation.
Bitter Shadow, have you noticed if the guards come to collect anyone who might seem like they're injured or on the verge of death?
She says, yes, actually they do. I don't know if you were aware of this, but there is a particularly viral strain of tuberculosis floating around.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, Russia's known for quite a many things, and hearty vodka and hearty tuberculosis. Apparently, it's resistant to most vaccinations. And it kills, as she says, from what I have overheard, it kills 50%, or it is responsible for 50% of all Russian prison deaths.
So when one of the empowers becomes sick or close to death, are they healing them or are they just putting them out of their misery?
That I don't know. But what I do know is they do seem to value these anyone that comes in as a resource. So I believe it would behoove them to just attempt to kill them outright.
Maybe Lightbringer can feign being sick.
I'd rather not put either of you in more
But
danger than I already have.
Well, you can't get sick. I mean, you come down with tuberculosis, they're really going to be tearing you apart to see how the heck that happened.
True.
But
However,
unless they took off the collar, I wouldn't have any way to defend myself or get out of that.
if they believed one of us was dead, do you believe they would remove the collar? Looking at Bitter Shadow.
Presumably.
And so then Hyperion, he then turns to face the bars and he says, I can hold on to the bars. They would notice the power drain here. This should be sufficient enough to do significant damage if I allow it. They may then detect that I've been injured, come collect me, and dispose of me if they notice that it seems as if I've been destroyed.
She says, okay, hold on 1 second.
Well,
Now, I don't
what
know
if
if
they part you out?
I don't know if your friends can rebuild you. And she kind of looks around to the other two, to the two that are here.
Well, with tools, yes, but we don't have those. And what if they part you out? If they start tearing you apart, then what? No.
So
they would necessarily remove the collar. Once they do that, I would be fine.
But aren't
not if they zap you with one of those guns?
But aren't you guys some sort of big brains or something? Last I checked,
they are. I'm just the shot caller.
You're a shot caller? I thought you were just a thief from Heliopolis.
Who have you been talking to?
Well, someone who knows you, clearly.
I'm not a thief. No, I'm...
Okay, now I'm curious.
I'm a princess, by the way. Thank you.
I'm sure that's pleasant where you come from. Anyways, she says, if you're supposed to be big brains and you seem to have some sort of medical training, why don't we just find a way to temporarily infect one of you with something?
There's no guarantee that we could fix that.
As she says,
she's saying that we may be able to find a way to fix it when we can.
But isn't there someone who wants your DNA? Clearly that was all about. Wouldn't it behoove him to I don't know, try and fix you? This is out of my wheelhouse here. I'm good at stealing things, and I am very good at physics and dimensional studies.
So you're suggesting that I become infected with this viral tuberculosis and
not the tuberculosis, but isn't there something somebody here can think of? Look, I've already said I can get around. I'm good at stealing things. If you can tell me, find me something that will look lethal, but maybe really isn't, or you have the knowledge, if you have the tools to cure it really quickly, and you tell me what that is, I can probably find that here. They're doing all kinds of experiments.
Jerome, can I do like a a reason check for an idea.
Or so you don't have an idea and you're wanting one?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of like some kind of a thing that we could
What about
use.
smallpox?
So basically, what she is suggesting, and I know you haven't seen this, is the World War Z trick.
I am not familiar.
Right. And
Okay.
now the lights are going off. Basically,
Yeah.
what it is the zombies in World War Z only want to feed off of the healthy. And
Right.
and somehow instinctually in their brain, what's left of it, they detect infirm and the sick and whatnot and avoid it completely.
Right.
And so Brad Pitt's character in the movie figures that out and manages to find a disease that he can infect himself with. So they then in turn don't see him.
Yeah, right. But he chooses one that can be cured.
Right.
That's my mom's favorite movie, so I have seen it many times.
She's in essence proposing something like that.
Maybe there's something that we could. I mean, if they've got any number of virus and bacteria, maybe something that could be cured by simple penicillin or something. Provided we could get the penicillin quickly.
Well, they've got
But
to
if
have.
it was,
Well, maybe
they would have penicillin, wouldn't they?
Well, they might have the antidotes to certain viruses that they have here. So as long as she can get the virus and the antidote to you, they take you away, take the shock collar off of you, you inject yourself, and whammy the hell out of them.
If Bitter Shadow can get a sample of a disease, then she could also theoretically get the sample of the cure.
Right.
What would the container for that most likely look like so she knows what to find?
And that's where Lightbringer's going to come into play.
Yeah, so I would explain
Because
how
you've got the medical skill.
well, I have a first aid skill. Oh, I do have emergency medicine and I have
Yes, you
first
do.
aid.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
And I'm a little bit smart.
Just a little.
Just a little
So
cosmic brain over here.
I know.
so I would explain how such things would be typically stored,
Right. Okay.
like in a normal lab. So
Mhm.
like what kind of things she might be looking for. But if she's not like familiar with Earth diseases, oh, you know what?
You have telepathy.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I can connect with her mind, then I could kind of go with her and we could converse while she's looking.
Sure, you sure can. So you've got everything you need.
Okay. So once I am infected and they take me away, if that's what they do, what is the plan after that?
You whammy them with your radiation.
If you're able to regain your powers if they remove your collar to treat you, or whatever they're planning on doing, admittedly, you'll need to improvise. I would prefer that there's no casualties incurred, but they would need to be disabled. Because if you simply disappear and try to leave, they're going to warn the entire facility.
What kind of security measures do they have?
Look to Bitter Shadow.
So she says mostly armed guards have patrolled this facility.
So they don't have like
I can't say for certain when it comes to laboratory.
they don't have say technology that can
Like
see
cannons dropping from
heat
the
signals or
cannons
Yeah.
dropping from the ceiling.
So she.
I'm mostly thinking about detection abilities.
She shrugs and she says, I've been able to get around, so they clearly can't. They can't detect certain things.
I can
Yep.
make myself invisible. And provided they don't have anything that could detect me while I'm invisible,
Is it?
I could
She
get
says,
around that way.
is it psychic, or are you bending the light spectrum?
It's a light trick.
So then your collar would need to be removed or deactivated for that to work.
Right, I already tried that. So it would have to be after they removed the collar.
However, you still have your skills.
Lightbringer, could you cause somebody to pass out by using your psychic ability?
Mm-mm.
You
I
could.
can't do anything offensive with it.
We need to work with that.
Yeah,
The
that
guards
could be useful.
appear to be human, and each of them is wielding a weapon. There will likely be at least one guard around you if there are any doctors or scientists trying to help you. They should not be that much of an issue, theoretically, unless there are Ubari in the area. You don't have to engage them directly. But do you think you'd be able to disarm at least one of the guards so that you could obtain their weapon and use that?
Without my powers,
Correct. Simply with your fighting skills.
I could try. I'm not the best fighter, but I could try.
That would not be good enough. I don't want you to be put into that type of danger either. But you have your other psychic abilities. None of them are offensive, but they allow you to detect others.
What if both of you went down? She gets sick. You grab onto the bars trying to get somebody to come. It short circuits you, supposedly. You're the
That might-
muscle. And then the two of you can. That way she's not on her own.
She wouldn't be on her own.
Bitter Shadow might be able to assist. What would you be able to do with your shadows if you're able to assist her?
So so you feel the shadows reach out around your body, Hyperion, and press you up against her. Would you like to find out?
Whoa.
Huh.
We have time. She kind of raises her eyebrow. I don't mind an audience.
I appreciate the offer, but not for the time being. Thank you.
She goes, she's gonna look at Lightbringer and kind of mouth the words. Is he even capable?
I never asked.
Enhancements.
There's this thing called the Mr. Stud.
Yeah, skulls
He
goes.
got it.
Oh
Yes.
God, I felt it. What's
Yeah.
happening?
There was a
Say he-
disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
He got it. He got into Justin's locker. He got a
Yeah,
Steely.
Carmen
He got a Steely.
Carmen is purposely not looking at anybody.
Yeah. Joan is
La,
like
la,
trying
la,
to
la, la,
like
la, la.
mentally scrub her brain.
So
Anybody have
she
any
said.
bleach I can
So
pour
with
in my
that,
eye?
then she says. So what do you think?
Well, that would mean that you're the one who has the psychic-based offensive capabilities. So therefore, with at least the both of you outside of the cell, we could work quickly, either by leaving the collars on but having both of you move throughout the facility to see what you can do, or find a way to release us as well. Or that could simply be the point at which we move quickly. Once you both have been able to neutralize the individuals that are in whatever medical facility they take you to. Then
So-
work on removing the collars, and then continue from there using your full breadth of powers.
I have a question. What do you? She's going to look at bitter shadows. What do you think would happen if the facility went dark?
Well, I am not a I am not a doctor of bacterial studies, but if the facility went dark, backup generators would no doubt kick in if these Russians are even worth remotely part of their salt, because they have infectious materials here, and they would not want to risk that getting out, let alone all of the prisoners inside.
So their generators would be strong enough to keep the bars humming and the colors intact.
They most certainly would have to be. You have a small penal colony of individuals that could potentially level a city. Think that through. They're not going to leave that up to just one generator failure. But they were the ones that gave us Chernobyl, so I could be wrong.
Well, what if
Well-
we?
Do you know where the power source for the colors?
As I said before, I do not know any of that as of this date. I have not wanted to venture out from this particular part of the prison for risk of exposure.
Lightbringer, are you able to infiltrate someone's mind to find that information?
No, it's a communication device only. It's like picking up a telephone.
What about you?
Are you talking? Because we can't see you. So what about? Are you
Yeah,
talking to
yeah,
Bitter Shadow?
yeah, she's looking at bitter. Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't have those capabilities.
Well, why don't we try finding a suitable disease? If you don't mind my being inside your head.
Of course not. I have nothing to hide.
Okay. Do you know the location where they're being held?
Where who is being held?
The diseases, the specimens.
Not specifically, but I know the direction it goes in. They're
Okay.
very clear about their signage here, and I do speak Russian.
Oh, convenient. Okay. So let's focus on this part of the plan and then decide what to do once we have something suitable to use.
Agreed.
So I guess
You-
I'll
Do you want to fill Xenofreeze in on what we're doing in case
that's a good idea.
where she ends up going?
That's a good idea. Should I roll telepathy for that?
No.
Okay. So I will take a seat and jump to Ixion's head
Okay.
and say, how are you feeling?
Detached.
Any news yet?
No. I have portrayed that it was an exertion to communicate with the Ubari. And so he has left me to my own devices to rest for some time.
And then Derek, you end up hearing "doo-doo-doo-doo-doo," spell devices.
Say what?
DEVICES. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Correct.
I can't hear that. So
Oh. That's the only thing I heard from that, though.
Mhm.
is it reading his thoughts? That could be alarming.
I am going to try something, and I'm speaking mentally to Lightbringer. I'm trying something to see if this device is picking up on my brainwaves.
Spell picking up on brainwaves.
Mm.
SPELL. And it just starts like rattling it off, you know.
Great.
Dang.
This thing is picking up on some of my thoughts.
And so you hear like the door open up and real quick, and the somebody peek in. And he says, "Did you call me?"
And voice wise or vibration wise, I say, no, I was merely contemplating some things, and the device picked up on what would be the verbiage in my mind.
That is amazing. And so he comes in, and you hear him start flipping through some like paperwork or whatnot, like he must have jotted down. And then you hear him typing on a computer and making some notes.
Although
he says think of something else. Think of something random.
And I just think the thought intrusive.
Okay.
Intrusive.
Then you hear spell intrusive. And he's like, and so he's just like, that is astounding. I am a xenobiologist god.
Though your breakthrough is intriguing, I do not like this.
He says, well, even still, I mean, I apologize for the sudden but wondrous side effects, but I have to catalog this down. You fully understand, right? It's for science.
Okay.
Yes.
Carmen is going to say, stand by, and she's going to disconnect.
Okay.
Can you detach this while we are not communicating?
Oh, right. Of course. That would, yeah. Hold on one second. And so he just unplugs it. It's actually just using like the typical like a plug-in that you could put in the side.
Right. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you don't hear anything.
Huh. Well, too bad I didn't do that 30 seconds later.
Well,
okay. For now, I'm going to try and not hook up with.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
He
Learning something
might
new
like
about
it.
Lightbringer.
Lightbringer has
Well,
a
you
type.
know, first it was going to go down.
I'm attempting, as we're sitting there, I am attempting to see if I can manipulate one or more of my masses to try to get closer to the others, whether it's climbing out or
Magnetically
yeah, I don't know.
move the beakers closer.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll your endurance at FE2.
At FE2.
Yep. So that's what FB in the die roller.
Right.
I
Exactly.
need well, to have a green, I would need a 61. All right.
Can he use karma?
Can I?
Do you want to be able to use that to see? Yeah, I mean, you know what?
I'm okay
we
with it.
actually have a good amount. Might as well.
I will leave that up to you if you'd like.
Yeah.
Just don't roll
Um,
before you do.
No, I haven't hit enter. I've got roll feeble right here.
Okay.
Do we want to go 60 and then if I end
Whatever.
up getting a
Sure.
red, then
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Do
Okay,
it.
Yeah,
spending
we'll spend the
60.
60.
If you
Okay.
rolled a 1, but you also had spent karma, does that still count as a 1?
No. I mean,
Okay.
it's
Because we
Just
spent
curious.
karma,
because
it would be a success.
you don't have a fumble really in this per se.
Right.
Okay.
So
curious.
spending 60.
FB.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oops, not Ryle. So 53
so
plus the
that would
60
be a
is
red
113. Yeah.
Yep.
Red result.
That is a red result. Okay. Okie doke. So you try to focus as hard as you can, and you see the other two beakers that you're in start to shake and kind of push up against the side.
And I'm not, how far away are they?
They are about this far apart.
Oh, so they're literally like right there. So, but I don't have enough to get up and
Right.
out to join together with another one.
Right.
Well, that was relatively fruitless. Does he notice?
No, because he exited after he made his notes.
Oh, he did. Oh.
If you broke them, or if you somehow managed to, kept rocking the boat and sloshing
Yeah,
yourself
I'm trying.
Okay, well, we'll get back to that then. You're sloshing
Okay.
about right now. Brittany,
Yeah.
you're trying to get with
Okay.
Bitter Shadows.
I'm going to connect to her mind.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
Green.
Okay. So you can communicate,
So she'll say testing, 1, 2, 3.
and you hear, and she replies back in her head, "I hear you just fine, Lightbringer."
All right. So let's go, I guess. And I'll
Hey! I just had a thought before you leave. What if you try to get a message out to, Grandpa?
I don't think it can reach that far.
Well, no, but a telephone can.
Do we really want to involve him here? We've
And-
seen what he did in Argentina.
Yeah, and she says, "You really trust the Russian telephone system not to tap an inbound call
That as
or an
well.
outbound call to New Prussia?"
Okay.
Yeah, I
mean,
think
you might as
it
well
would
just
be
throw
best.
sparklers up in the air and say, "Hey, I'm doing something you shouldn't be."
I think it best if we not involve him at this particular juncture.
Well, he would definitely get you out of here.
Yeah, but at what cost on the world stage?
Exactly. If anything, that could be an absolute last resort if nothing else seems to be working.
Relations with Russia are a powder keg already. So let's see what we can do
Okay.
first.
So at that point, you stay in touch with her. She slips out of the cell, and that is where we're going to stop for the evening.
Okay,
So great game.
right along.
Davey, obviously, I'm sorry you didn't have a whole lot to do this first particular game. But next game you will.
Hooray!
Next game you definitely will. I'll be getting with you off the side to let you know kind of what to expect.
Okay.
So our next game for this is the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
So those of you who are watching or tuned in or whatnot, that's when we're going to be playing this again. Please, if you have a moment, donate. And if you can, please donate to the our charity. We're trying to raise funds for Control-Alt-Delete. We're trying to hit a goal of $300. Every penny goes to them. None of us actually see a dime. Our next game will actually be next week on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday at 7 p.m. is Cyberpunk, and Thursday at 7 p.m. is Street Fighter.
Woo!
And then in March, we're actually going to be switching up, and we will have a Star Wars game we're going to be running. So we are going to be, we're still in the process of making characters for that. So hopefully,
Yay.
now hold on a second. He's saying the link doesn't go to the charity. Yes, it does. It actually does go to the charity. That's the fundraiser for it. If you donate using that, all the money goes to that particular charity.
And if you do more than
yeah, it's working for
$10,
me.
Yep.
you can.
And the link in the about section is actually this particular charity fundraiser.
Oh, it looks to me like the banner is going to a different link than the link down below.
Yeah, the banner may the banner may end up going to something else. It was an earlier drive. Yeah. But if you use this link that we've put out here, don't worry about anything else. That's the actual particular charity.
Yeah, go to the one
same
underneath
charity,
the banner.
So yeah.
There you go.
Bruce Banner.
So at any rate, again, thank you guys all for tuning in and checking us out. We'll be back again this coming Wednesday to play. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and have a good night. Good night, guys.
Hyperion was getting checked out.
Yeah, that